Yeah.
Yeah, the will on John P.'s
He's
will.
got a good memory.
Yeah, oh,
I mean,
Now, what if the red light district, number one, from the physician's point of view, would he know a little bit about how the doctors had to treat the women in the red
I'm
light
sure he
district?
would.
So I should ask about,
Yeah.
we should ask about that.
because Bill even did that.
Huh?
Bill even treated that.
Yeah, so maybe he'll have some interesting observations about that, and then what about asking him personally if he knew anything about it or was down there?
Oh, I don't think you'd embarrass him or make him mad or,
Tell him a story about Joe when he was county physician.
oh, and they checking the milk?
Yeah,
Joe, my uncle, my dad's brother, was the county physician, and they had to check the milk, you know, a lot of dairies out on the East Ridge here, and to make sure they were pasteurizing the milk. Well, a lot of them weren't, and of course it was against the law in those days. So Joe and this other doctor went out to check on, I forget which dairy it was, but anyway, it was just like the moonshiners. They started shooting at him. And finally, it hit Joe and the other doctor down in the ditch, laying there, and the dairy guys trying to kill him. You know, let them the hell out of there.
now that's in a paper that
Yeah.
Grundle and somebody else did. They used to do these speeches, or, you know, these topics and dedicate it to the doctors, and they wrote a paper on them. And that's what it says about Dr. Joe when he was the physician about this thing. And then there was a train wreck that killed a lot of people that Patrick went on, or Dr. Pat went on.
I think it was the one from here, I think it was the Great Northern.
I've got that
Great
right up
Falls.
on it.
And then, the other thing is, his mom, Fritz, was Butter Driscoll's sister.
Mhm.
But Fritz was also the daughter of John C. Driscoll, who was a socialist. Now, she was older than Butter, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So she might know a little bit about her dad, where he got his ideas to be a socialist, places he went to, his thoughts about things.
Well, John,
I don't know.
did John Astle tell you about the group of Irishmen who were socialists? I mean, they were more radical than the RELA.
Oh, yeah,
And they were called something O'Connell's or,
the Pierce Conley.
oh, Pierce
Yeah.
Conley.
Well,
I don't know if he would or not, if he'd know anything about his grandpa.
Could be worth asking.
He might.
Well, Danny Driscoll knows about it because when he interviewed Fritz, she says, "Oh, I was afraid you were going to find out about that." And he has a picture of where he was running, you know, where he was on the ballot. I've got a copy of that too.
Yeah. But see, that's a big area, because you just don't become a socialist overnight. You got to have
Yeah.
friends, you got to go to places, you know. And I'd like to learn more about that.
He might know something. Like I said, I'd never asked him about that, but him and Butter were pretty thick. Butter take him to the joints, and of course he was only, I think he was only 15 maybe,
14, 15.
14, 15 at that time. Butter won a car. Butter couldn't drive, so JP drive the car for him.
Yeah.
Butter doesn't know how to drive the car. He's a grown man. He's a dentist. He don't know how to drive the car. Wins the car. He's got that 14, 15-year-old kid driving him around to play the piano. And he'd go in and Jade'd sit there and drink while Butter's playing the piano.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's.
Well, was Butter kind of a father figure then, or?
No, I don't know.
He was
No, not-
you're not a very good father
Yeah,
figure.
I just think they like to go around to the joints and drive the car.
But his own dad's dead by then.
Yeah.
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 Is that right? His
Who?
father, JP's?
Oh, no, no.
Butter and JP, who are partners? Let me get that straight.
John, my Uncle John Kane and Butter
Were partners?
Yeah,
They were both dentists?
yeah. And then my dad and the three uncles that were doctors were in the same, they all used the same waiting room.
In the Lucian building?
Yeah, you had a waiting room as big as this house about. And
Neil
were all in
O'Keefe
it.
was in it.
And that was right across from Java John's and right across from the Montana Power, right in that parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm. But like I said, he'd probably have some real good stories to tell about that, which would come under the one thing there of social life, nightlife, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think that would be real good.
And then there's Dr. Pat had two daughters that became nurses, also RNs.
And the son that
So they-
became a doctor. My brother was a doctor.
Yeah. Your cousin was a doctor.
My cousin was a doctor.
Who were the nurses?
Fran and...
My two older sisters.
Yeah.
Should we be asking what his favorite song was, what his favorite food was, those kind of things, specific?
I don't think so.
Okay, just let him decide.
Yeah.
I'll say, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did tell us a story about his grandma that was, used to sit by those old fires, or those old stoves, you know, the old black when you put the wood in and stuff, and she had a rocking chair next to one, and she smoked a pipe. She lit the pipe and threw the match in the
The
wood
stick
box.
matches.
In the wood box and started the wood box
You
on
know,
fire.
did blow it out and throw it in the wood box. Well, there was one time they didn't get it blown out. Threw it in the box full of kindling and pretty soon the whole thing was on fire.
That was Julia Callahan Driscoll, that'd be Butter Driscoll's grandmother too, because she spit, unless there's two grandmothers smoked pipes.
Yeah, no, this was Granny Dolan Kane.
Oh, well, there's a
Yeah.
lot of them that smoke pipes.
Yeah, pipe smoking, I think.
Did you ever see a picture of Granny
No,
Driscoll?
no.
Oh my God.
Cute, huh?
That's what Uncle Dan
Do you
said.
want to see a picture of her?
What do you,
Homework.
I think probably the best way on these things is you just kind of ask a question and then keep your mouth shut.
Well, in some cases, yeah, this sounds like a guy who, I mean, if
You
anything...
won't have to pull it out of him.
No, and if anything, you might want to rein him in and make sure he stays on. I mean, it depends. I mean, there's certain kinds of stories that sort of, he's probably told a million times that are entertaining, but that you might find, for instance, that you want to steer him in a direction he hasn't talked about before to get a little fresher perspective.
Oh.
Let's see.
She's a
Yeah.
doll.
She's homely in Dan's word.
See, she was a widow in
Can't believe this.
Fall River when he found her and married her. She was older than him.
Did she have kids? Or was she?
They got married before the
She did
Civil
have
War.
kids?
Her name was Mara.
Yeah.
Her last name?
Yeah, that wasn't her maiden name. that
It was
her
Ida.
maiden name. Mara.
Well, the women back then had to be tough. They had to be made of firm fiber to survive.
You know,
Well-
you know who my favorite person is in the whole world? The Flanagans.
Ah,
It's
there's,
like something on Mad TV. No?
I had Butter, the nightlife, what bars, if you had a car, other things, disease outbreaks, mine accidents, medical politics. I was interested in the politics of him being appointed to the academy back when he was, because that's a political appointment, and how that happened here in this town, to get an idea how things worked.
He was, who the hell was it? Anyway, make a long story short, he was appointed and then there was a change in the administration and the guy that got elected said he appointed him.
Mary A. Dugan Dolan.
Well, he didn't.
Elizabeth Dolan Kane's
And
mother.
so my dad gets a hold of, there was a little thing with newspaper. It wasn't even as big as the Butte Weekly.
Mhm.
And anyway, in there it puts that, Dad says that, I can't
Oh, I
remember
just
this name,
left it
geez, it's
right.
right on the tip of my tongue, but anyway, he didn't appoint him, the senator that was just,
Were they the
that lost the election appointed him.
Huh?
Were they
And the
friends?
Anaconda Company controls the
Friends?
Butte Daily Post, and they won't print the truth, and they're nothing but a bunch of goddamn liars, you know? And I went up to the archives and I got the pink, what do they call that? The pink, what do they call that paper? The pink, that thing, that story about Jay was in, about his appointment to Annapolis. Yeah, not the scandal sheet, but the Pink Reporter or something like that. It was only out for a couple of years, but I don't know.
So
There was a guy teaching, a captain in the Navy, teaching
Is it-
at
have you been there?
No?
Annapolis, and his name was Pete Hale.
Here's Frank.
And I don't know how my dad knew him. I think if I remember right, this is a long time ago, if I remember right, kind of a decorated hero. And he was an instructor or something at Annapolis. And I don't know if that had something to do with it or not.
But your dad wanted to make it real clear
Yeah.
that Jay didn't get any appointment to Annapolis because of the company's influence.
Yeah.
And how did he do that? He put it out in the paper?
Yeah, in this, well,
Okay,
the paper wouldn't print it. It was printed in this
He has copies of
Storyteller,
that.
whatever the hell. He's got a copy of that.
Okay, I gotta ask about that.
Maybe I got a copy of it.
Because I went up and got it for him. A guy from Helena gave it to me.
Yeah, and then we went up
I
and
didn't even know
found
about
up the archives.
But, yeah, and then he just, I don't know why, he never did like Annapolis. You know, I don't think he wanted to go, he never told me that, but I just kind of, him and another kid that graduated from Central the same year, his name was John Fitzpatrick, and they called him Tubba. And Jay went to Annapolis and Tubba went to West Point. Tubba was with the 82nd Airborne and got killed in Normandy D-Day when he jumped. When they invaded Europe. Him and Jay were good friends. But I just got the feeling that he did, you know. And then, of course, World War II started. He joined the Navy down in California.